Good morning, friends. Hope you're doing well today. One of the things that I learned when I was a children's therapist and a mom of a toddler, something that was really important to me when she was growing up, was that I wanted her to be able to know how to identify and recognize her feelings and talk about them. And so I was doing all kinds of reading of parenting books and what are good for kids and child development and all kinds of, you know, nerding out on parenting. And I came upon this blog, and I really wish I remembered who said it. I bet if you Google it with the keywords, it'll come up. But they suggested this game, and the game was Mad, Sad, Glad. And basically, the way it worked was anyone could initiate it and say Mad, Sad, Glad. And so you'd say whatever made you mad that day, whatever made you sad that day, and whatever made you glad that day. And so it was a thing that I implemented. I think she was 3, maybe 4 years old, that we would go through. And one of the only rule of that is you had to have a glad thing. So you could have 7 mad things, but you had to have a glad thing. You could have 0 mad things, but you had to have a glad thing. One of the things that I learned in that process, and as we experienced it, was just how aware and articulate kids can be about their feelings once they understand what they mean. And as she got older, she started adding other feelings in, like, oh, what was weird today, or what was scary today, or what was nervous today. And it became kind of a contest where I'd come home from work and she would run out to the garage and say, Massa glad, and wanted to know what mine was. And here's the trick. When you're a parent, it's not your kid's job to take care of your feelings, but it is their job. It is our job to help make sure they understand what that looks like. So, for example, I might say mad, and I wouldn't go into the details of what happened, but I say, someone wasn't very nice to me today. And that could be a mad thing and a sad thing. But I don't have to go into the details of, like, oh, this coworker did this, or someone was unkind. It's not her job to manage my stuff. But it still helps her know, like, oh, mom has feelings too, and dad has feelings too. And so being able to practice that with her, and still we don't do it, she doesn't run out to the car and do that. But now when she jumps in the car at carpool and I say, how was your day? It wasn't just like fine or good. And if she does, I say, great, tell me about it. And she'll be like, okay. And she goes through every class of the day and tells me what was mad, sad, glad. And she's doing it without knowing she's doing it, because it's a habit and a tradition kind of that we created in our family. Now, sometimes me or daddy will be in a mood and we don't want to go into mad, sad, glad because we just want to be unhealthy like we have been in the past. But when we do that, it just releases some of that stress. And sometimes even if we're just with ourselves, it might be good to check in and be like, mad, sad, glad. I mean, it could even be a couples check-in at the end of the day. Because again, kids don't need to worry about what parents worry about. They need that safety and support and those boundaries. But a little bit of mad, sad, glad, I've not found it to hurt anyone yet. Now, other people have other versions of it. I've heard roses and thorns, or highs and lows, or whatever. And the reality is, I don't think it matters how you do it. It just matters that you do it. That you and your kids and your family get practice talking about feelings. Because when we don't, then they don't get to learn and practice how to communicate about feelings in ways that are healthy. And so being aware, like, okay, maybe you implement it now. If your kids are small, if your kids are young or old or teens, and I'll tell you, teens will think it's cheesy if you start now, but it'll be really good when they really need to talk about it. And so maybe try a little mad, sad, glad this week with someone you care about, or even with yourself, because you care about you too, I hope. And see what you can come up with and begin to tune into those feelings, as you may not have been paying attention to them because of busy or stress or avoidance or whatever. Good luck. We'll see you next time.